Well, all right. Ladies, gentlemen, D-Gens, good evening. Welcome to Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. There's another episode of Weekly Whiskey here on Weekly Whiskey. We're super pumped. I even said it right this time. That is unusual.
You did. You nailed it.
Man,
I like everything about it.
The bar was so low, and I did not trip on it once. But
don't stop now. Keep going. You got this.
It is good to have you all. Thanks for joining us. If you're drinking something great, let us know down in the comments. If you're drinking something terrible, also let us know, and we will avoid it. But we're back on Tuesday. John and I have some great drinks poured. I'm super pumped for tonight's episode. But how are you doing, John?
Doing great, man. I'm really pumped about this. This is a topic that I've been looking to dive into for a little while here. I just remember that I forgot something that I wanted to bring up here, but we'll get to that later, so it's all good.
Yeah, I love it. Dustin in the comments said time for the business in a way that reminds me of my favorite true crime podcast, True Crime Garage. But I'm not the captain, so we'll stay on the typical weekly whiskey cadence here. But first, we've got some barrel news. This has been a hoppin' week for the Our Bourbon Single Barrel program. Tomorrow in Overflow, you will see a little bit of the Barrel Single Barrel. You'll see some of the new Riff Diamond and the Riff 3, and you will see some of the Nashville Barrel Co. all come out at Overflow at 1 p.m. Central. So be holding on to your inboxes there. Be ready to click super quick. But we're kind of switching up. We're doing a mix and match. So if you are quick enough to get all three, it's a possibility. In the meantime, behind me, you see there's a bunch of samples. Old Elk has sent us potentially up to 6 barrels to pick, which I'm pumped about. John and I...
You're going to be busy.
Yeah, John and I and 2 guests will be tasting some crazy Old Elk. We got wheated bourbon and the straight blend of bourbons coming up soon. And on top of that, we have a new riff going live next week as well. And then I think that's kind of it for the updates. We hit all the big stuff in the email. At this point, there's almost too many barrels again. We've got 20 plus barrels that are currently somewhere between selected and bottling. And I'll be back in Kentucky for more at the end of May. So I think that's enough banter about barrels. But watch your email, 1 p.m. Central tomorrow if you're hoping to score any of the 3. I'm actually hoping to grab another Nashville myself because that was good stuff. But without further ado, what are we talking about tonight, John?
Let me do a real quick pause on that and to circle back to the barrel that's coming through. That'll be was it Z1 H6, I think? H5. That was what we almost dubbed the blind bomber, but the designer didn't quite get his ass together and build the fucking stickers for it. So that would have been the blind bomber bottle, and that is one that of the 7 that we tasted in that one night was absolutely just insane. And I'm really hoping that some folks in the chat pick this one up so they can sip it along with us some night and maybe throw it into a blind of their own. Because on its own, I really don't think that this is something that everybody's going to be like, man, I can't wait to get home and pour a little bit of this because it's what I'm craving. Because it's so unique and so crazy. It's not going to be the barrel that you find yourself seeking out until you line it up against a bunch of other stuff. And, sample some of this to your buddies with some other things. And I'm telling you, man, people are going to be like, what in the hell is that? Like, it's the craziest whiskey. So I'm really pumped about that one. I hope everybody picks it up and gets really excited about what they can do with it because it's just a fun one.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember. Do you remember what we guessed it was? Because I do, and I thought that was the craziest part for me.
I was 100% convinced it was finished in, what was it? There was a list of things I would have believed. I would have believed pear brandy. I would have believed apple brandy. I would have believed Amaro. I would have. I mean, there's a list of things that it could have been, and I would be like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm with you. Being that it was just straight bourbon is not one of them. I thought for sure it was finished because it's just like a massive pile of cinnamon and fruit.
Yeah. Yeah. I went
It
back and
was.
I actually rewatched our tasting. We thought it was a 7 to 9 year bourbon, finished in Armagnac casks, which
Armagnac.
surprisingly,
Yeah.
5-year Kentucky, but
Yep.
they pulled that barrel for a reason for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that was in our flight because it was, it was swinging with some real crazy shit. So I'm glad that they included that. I mean, Nick running their barrel program, she's got to dial in.
Man,
and Will knew that we wanted something crazy. So anyway, shout out to Barrel because
that was
a totally unique barrel, and I'm super pumped about it. So yes, I am now ready to move forward and to talk about tonight's topic of whiskey glasses, glassware, what matters, what doesn't, what's awesome, what's not. And I mean, I've got myself a cocktail poured already, but I don't want to. Geez, I feel like if I hold it up, I'm going to be highlighting a glass, and I'm not ready to talk about yet. So,
no, that's okay. What's you can sip suspiciously and inconspicuously.
Usually, I do sip suspiciously. No, not like a Mackenzie Rye, Yancey. It's like,
God.
I mean, I guess like a Mackenzie Rye in the sense that when I say like this is bourbon and I pour you some, you'll be like, no, that's not bourbon. Just like when I pour you some of the Pursuit Series episode 18 and tell you it's rye, you're like, no, that's not rye. Very much along that vein, but like not profile wise. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, this is very much like, I was just amazed when he said it was 5 year because I would have believed 15 year. I would have believed 10 to 15.
Yeah. If you had told me that it was a crazy ass 11-year American whiskey finished in like a pine barrel, I'd be like, yeah, okay. It's cool. It's crazy. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. Just crazy.
Yeah.
Bonkers, some would say.
Yeah. Oh, gee. How many broke?
The cork popped out. No, none broke.
Oh,
which is funny because I broke a Glencairn not 2 hours ago. But we don't get to talk about that.
No, we do not have to talk about that. The good thing about Glens is that you could get a 6-pack on Amazon for like $36 shipped. And so that way, when you break one every third week of the year, it's not a big deal.
So this will be the last detour before we get on topic. I have not broken a Glencairn in 5 years, and I've broken 3 in the last 6 days.
You were due.
I'm just like, and they've been like it's been like, you ever watch that movie Final Destination where everybody dies in the most just bizarre way possible, and you're like, that makes
right? You know, sense. Like the scene's coming up, you know this guy's dead, like this motherfucker's going down, but you don't know the how.
Yeah, well, so all three of them have broken, and just like completely. One of them, I was like cleaning up, like trying to just get this box off, and it like hit something that fell off of a Sonos speaker that took out a Glencairn, and I was like, oh, man. And today, I was like, my dog ran under my feet, and I dropped one, and I almost caught it, and I juggled it, and then it like bounced off my finger, and I just watched it fly through the air.
Yep.
And I knew that like she gone.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, she gone. I've been there. I have seen them break on carpet.
This fell on carpet.
Yeah, and if they fall just right, or I guess you could say just wrong, there's nothing you could do to protect a Glen.
Which is funny because like I've had them bounce before and they've been fine, but this has just been a bad week. I'm gonna use plastic sippy cups for the next 6 days. And
yep, that's it. You're on probation. And you know what we should do is get some weekly whiskey Silipines. Have you seen the Silipines, the silicone pint glass?
No, but I'm immediately interested after the week I've had.
Okay. Post show, I will be sending you a couple links, and in the next package I send you, I'll toss in a shot glass or so.
That'd be amazing. That sounds nearly unbreakable, I would think.
Yeah, it's silicone, man. Like, can't break it. I don't think. You'd have to try.
All right. Well, I'm game. I've had a rough week. I'm sure I could give it a shot.
All right. Perfect. So let's talk about glassware. Why does it matter? And what pieces of it actually impact your overall whiskey experience?
Definitely. So I've got a couple glasses here. This is hotly debated because everybody has their favorite whiskey glass, and there's there's preferences by community, there's preferences by person, there's preferences that the brands would prefer, but we're here to dig through and find out what's the best. So I'm kind of starting I'm starting with something that I think is awesome, but it's also kind of ridiculous at the same time. And this highlights something about whiskey glasses that I think is important, and it's the shape of the glass itself. So ignore all this business below.
Pretend it's not a gigantic, pretentious, overdone glass, and then let's just look at the shape of the actual drinking vessel.
Yeah, so this basically looks like a Glencairn on a stem. And if you're not familiar with the Glencairn, it has this really nice tulip shape to it. It's got a wide bottom and a narrow top, and that's what helps you really smell and sniff and get a good taste. And that I think is kind of, that's where a lot of these are starting. I think this is the good place. All of these have a different shape, and that shape is super important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if I were to break this down and say, like, what is the staple? If you could only have one, what is it going to be? It's going to be the Glen, the standard Glencairn glass. I mean, it has everything. It's got a small amount of stem to it. It's got the shape you're talking about. Yeah. It's the right weight. It feels right in the hand. You could pour just the right amount of whiskey, give it a good swirl, easy for nosing. I mean, it is the official whiskey tasting glass for a reason, right?
Basically.
They have done everything right with that glass. But
and it's only $8.
Yeah, less if you buy them in bulk, man. Like I really think, I think a 6-pack, the last time I got them on Amazon was like $36. Can't beat it.
Yeah, they only get cheaper from there. Like $8 is right. Like the ceiling.
Yeah. It's like when you're buying a glass, they're $8. You could get like the little, I've got a, oh shit, you know what? I wish I grabbed that too. I forgot like all the other things that I should have had handy here. You could get a leather hard cylindrical case that'll hold 2 Glens for travel.
Oh yeah.
So this thing is like leather. It's got a brass clasp on it, and you take the, it packs up 2 Glens, protects them in your luggage or whatnot.
Yep.
Take that with you. It's great for weekend trips, especially with the Aeanor travel decanter. You have 500 mils of your favorite whiskey with you, and then you've got 2 glasses for Did Rock. That's tough to beat. That's a good combo.
That is a good combo. And if you are cheap like me, a tip for you Scotch drinkers: if you drink things like Andronic or Balvenie, take your cardboard tube and saw it in half. Make that line nice and straight though, and then you have a single Glen holder. Throw in a polishing cloth around the thing, tuck it in the tube, throw it in your luggage, boom, done. But
F&A cotton. F&A.
That's falling on a budget.
From the traditional Glen, are you saying that the hotel paper cup isn't good enough for travel tasting? Well, let me tell you 2 things about the hotel paper cup. 1 is that it sucks rabbit dick. 2, if you leave any whiskey in that thing for more than 30 minutes, you may no longer have a cup. You may have a mess. So
you have things
in mind the next time you're at the hotel that doesn't have plastic or proper glassware. Moving ahead is one that is a little bit more of a tasting glass in like a flight sense, I guess I would say, is the spade ram, the weed ram, however you prefer to call this one. Actually, if I get the light just right, you'll see the Revered 101 logo on it from my buddy DJ. Good guy, good friend of the show, and obviously appreciates good glassware because he sends these out to his Patreon community. I really like those for like a quick hitter. Like, so if I've got a fresh media sample or a new bottle that I just want to check out real quick, I might throw a little bit in there, let it rest a minute or so, give it a swirl, and then you can kind of get like an initial taste because it's got the tulip shape. I mean, it's small. This thing, I mean, you might put like 3/4 of an ounce. If you put much more than that in there, it would probably feel a little bit obese. But I think this is like a really good small taster or a flight. Like if you had 2 or 3 of these handy and you wanted to just try out a few different things, that's a pretty good way to go about it.
Those things are solid too. And I don't mean it's solid into like terms of performance. I mean in terms of like construction.
Yeah, it's got a good base to it. It's actually very, very much bottom heavy. It swings right back around there. It's got a good solid base to it. Nice weight. It doesn't feel super flimsy in your hand. Like it actually feels about as heavy as a regular Glencairn, really. So those overall are a pretty good way to, if you're just doing like a real quick hitter or a flight, I think those are kind of the answer.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't have the spade ram on hand at my desk right now, but I have a whole mess of them up in my cabinet. They're really nice. I actually like them for agave spirit sometimes. My only complaint with those is they feel a little tight on the nose. So like they're really great for first impression. It's hard to get like a really big bouquet, really big olfactory blast from those. But other than that, like they're great and travel with them. They're indestructible. Like Glencairns are solid. The Spade Ram is 100 times better than that paper cup at the hotel or the shot glass that the hotel bar gives you. Throw it in a Spade Ram. Amazing.
Yeah,
big upgrade.
absolutely. Okay, so I've actually got all my glassware arranged in a very OCD fashion by height on my desk. But like as I've set them up in a way that's very appealing to my eye, I realize that they don't really flow with the style of conversation I want to lead.
All right, well, hit me with the next one.
We're on so what'll probably happen is I'll fuck some of these up. But the hotel topic has me thinking.
Yeah.
So especially here in New England, there are extremely few places that you're going to show up and ask for a neat pour of whiskey and it's going to come in a Glen. You're just not going to see it. I've in fact been at really nice places in Boston and been like, hey, could you give me a pour of whatever it is? Like, let's say it's the Old Fitz, and I would like to have that in a Glencairn neat. And they look at you like, a what? I'm like, a tulip-shaped glass? Do you have that? And then you get this, the brandy snifter.
Oh, okay.
Which is effectively a last resort, but works. It's not great for what we're looking for, but it's better than your hotel paper cup. So like when you're at the hotel bar or someplace in town and that's all they've got, it works. It's not great, but it's acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, and at the very least, it has a little bit of tulip shape to it, right? Like it's concentrating a little
it's
bit.
Trying. It's like, and it's also, it's not a wine glass. That's sort of my thing is just like, when you ask for something that's not just like a rocks glass or a neat glass, old fashioned glass, usually they're kind of just go like, I got this. And like, you get like the stemless wine glass or like something. You're just like,
oh yeah.
How about that over there? Could you give me one of those, please?
Yeah.
And I've been that guy at the bar before, like, and then feeling incredibly awful about myself as a human and be like, could you put my liquor in that, please?
Yeah.
And then you kind of feel like an asshole, but at the same time, it's just like, come on, man. Like, you're a bartender. I thought you understood, but
well, and at some point it boils down to if you pay enough money, you kind of like I don't like I'm not going to roll up in a bar and expect this exact kind of glass. But if I'm going to pay $40 for a pour, just like give me something that helps accentuate the spirit to me. If you put in a pint glass or a stemless wine glass, that's okay. I get it. But you know, if you're going to charge that and I want to pay it, like help me out just like a little bit. Like I'll go 80, you go 20. Just give me something.
Yeah. The last thing I want to see is you serve that to me in either a heavy shot glass, like a 3-ounce shot glass, or like an 11-ounce old fashioned glass.
Absolutely.
And have that be the only option. Like, work with me just a little bit.
Yeah, just have something with a little bit of body and
if you're gonna have a menu with whiskeys that cost more than $20 for a pour, have a glass that costs more than $20, right?
Yeah, I could not agree more.
Even though I guess we did say that the Glens are pretty cheap, but don't tell them that.
I mean, dude, Glens at wholesale are nothing. Every bar in the world should serve everything in a Glen forever.
So, Yancey mentions that rocks glasses are the worst.
Well, funny.
Old-fashioned / rocks glass. Now, I will tell you that this one here from Bardstown Bourbon Company is one of my favorite because it's an 11-ouncer, but it is a little bit extra wide, and it fits a little better in the hand. It's got a good base on it, but still, that is a rocks glass. So if you are going to have a whiskey on the rocks, it's money. It's great. Perfect. It's what you want. Like, I might even bring that to camp with me over the summer because sometimes guilty pleasure, I like to throw 3, sometimes even 4 ice cubes in there. And then you never know what's going in. It might be rye. It might be something of agave base. But every now and then I like a little bit of rocks in the summer when it's hot because I don't deal well with heat. Yeah.
It's hot, man. I don't like heat either.
Because damn it, it's hot out.
And I mean, quintessentially too, like great mini cocktails go great in a neat glass, in a rocks glass. But I totally agree. Neat drinking like rocks glass as last resort. Like those tall, completely straight sides are not helping you nose anything. You're getting a lot of air in there you're not expecting. And I don't know. They're big. Like it's hard to
Yeah, a
really
little
get into
clunky.
a spirit. Yeah.
Now, I will say that I've had a few rocks glasses over the years that have really been like just nice in the hand, like super heavy base, thin wall. Like some of those are nice, but still at the same time, that's like if you're just sitting around having a drink, that's fine. You're not going to have like a nosing experience. You're not doing a proper tasting with something like that. So, I mean, if your style is to just have a drink of whiskey or whatever spirit it is that you choose, or if you even want to throw some on the rocks, I get it. That's fine. And those glasses, they can be comfortable in your hand. But at the same time, that's not really my go-to.
Yeah. I'm with you there. 100%.
Have you got another weird one over there that you want to share? I gotta believe you got another weird one.
Yeah, I do have a weird one, but I feel like, yeah, we'll see. So I'm sampling the same thing of all these different ones. This is the Ouija glass, which is kind of like a more conservative Glencairn on a stem. I like it. It's kind of heavy. It like swirls okay. But honestly, the more I use it, it feels exactly like a Glencairn on a stem. It's a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
But it has all the things I like. It has a nice tulip shape. I like the stem because sometimes it's nice to hold on to it with, one or two fingers instead of just like wrapping your big old paw around there. And it
Right.
gives you a nice little swirl, which is really good for introducing oxygen when you're trying to open up stuff.
Totally. I've got the a Maker's Mark edition that's extremely close to that. A mini stemmed
really
Glen.
Similar. Yeah.
And same type of, it's got like a good base to hold on to. It's got a good weight to it, the right shape for giving it a good swirl. And then you can kind of get in there as you need to for a proper nose. Like a glass like that, you can do a lot with because you can really get in there for a real tasting if you wanted. You can sit back and have a drink in there. I mean, if you really want to put a cocktail in there, I guess you could, but that's not quite the avenue that I'm looking for in it. But at the same time,
it's a little small for a cocktail, but
it's a good little taste. I mean, yeah, shit. Especially when I want to have like a 5-ounce cocktail.
Oh yeah, that cup's overflowing immediately.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it. The stem is nice. Same great shape. But nothing, I want to say that these are about 45 for 6-pack, so they're not super value conscious, but they're solid. And they give you really nice nose, which is typically what I'm trying to prioritize in my tasting.
So staying on the trend here of the bigger glass is the Canadian Glen. So the Canadian Glencairn is, for whatever reason, massive.
I mean,
you could fit 11 ounces of liquor in this thing. Now, I realize that most Canadian whiskey by standard is about 80 proof, but fuck's sake, 11 ounces of 80 proof will do it.
For days on end.
Right. I mean, this has got a really good weight to it. I mean, it's sort of like your combination of a Glen and your rocks glass. You've got that great base. I love to use these for cocktails, actually.
Absolutely.
I might even have had these on when we did the Dan K syrups edition of Weekly Whiskey, when Dan sent us all those. And I think I made it like a popcorn old fashioned in this thing that was absolutely fucking lights out.
I believe it. Yeah, it does look like a carafe.
But yeah, it is like a carafe. And like those things, but they've got a great tulip shape to it.
Yeah.
So you could really get by using this thing for an actual tasting. It's got good weight to the bottom, so it fits real good in the hand. It tightens up a lot at the top, actually, so you get a really good nose out of these. But it is a bulky glass, though.
My favorite part of those is that it's really natural to drink from, too. Like some of these, like Glencairn, if it's particularly notable. Like if you have a big nose, like it's like hard to like get it all the way, like where you need to. Canadian Glencairn totally fixes all that. Really natural to sip from.
Yeah, they're a really good glass. They're more spendy than the regular Glen. I want to say that for a pair of those, you're looking at more like $30 to $35.
They're not super cheap. Yeah.
No, they're not. But I mean, they are like official Glen. I keep freaking clunking these things around. You're probably not gonna be able to see it too well, but there's the maple leaf on the bottom. This thing like is just like overall, it feels like a nice glass when you hold it too, which I do appreciate.
Man, yeah,
the
Canadian
wide base does help.
Really nice.
What do you have next here? I'm going to pop through some of these things here.
I'm onto my Well, I'll talk about it. So I talked about the shape. This is the Rydell Spirits Performance. It's a little bit taller. I think it's my second favorite to what we're going to talk about at the end here, and it's got a bigger bulb like a Glencairn, a little bit taller. It has a really natural swirl to it. Really nice stuff, and they're not that expensive. They're like $25 a pop, but really tall. So it's really got that nice tulip structure that you want to like give you all of that, big nose, that big taste, big olfactory experience. It's just a really natural glass. It's wide enough that's easy to clean. I thought I was going to hate it because it's 1,000,000 feet tall. Like, I mean, look
It
at this
is,
thing.
yeah.
In comparison to a bottle of Old Fitz, like the glass is taller, which
That's
is
no joke.
ridiculous. But I really like it. It's grown on me. This is probably my sleeper glass that I bought because I was like, oh, it looks interesting. And people keep saying it's good, but really, really great nosing, really natural in the hand. But I don't think it can compare to our final glass. Well, my final glass. I think you have one or two more in the tank, right?
I've got 2 more. And looking at my now disjointed flight of glasses here. So I'll touch on one of them, and then we can wrap up with where I think we're both going with this.
Definitely.
And so my second to last, this is actually one of my, so I didn't present these in order of how much I like them, just sort of in the way that the conversation went.
Yeah.
But this is a glass that I really like. This is the Kentucky Bourbon Trail glass. It's a Libbey glass. These are great. Good bulbous shape to them. They're not quite as tulip. So this isn't necessarily like, if I'm doing a review, I'm not doing it one of these. Reviews are always in a Glen for me, just because that way they're standardized. And I think that is the glass. But when it comes to something where you get a great heavy base, good tulip shape, you could throw about 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces in this without it feeling like there's too much in there to swirl. These are really, really cool glasses. 4-pack of these is, I want to say, about $40 ish.
Okay.
I really dig these. I think they're good. And if you really got ambitious, you could throw a cocktail in there. But again, it's more of a tasting glass than anything else. But they do enhance the overall experience. Like, again, like going back to what we first talked about here, the shape of the Glencairn is really important because it gives you that bulbous space where you can give everything a good swirl. You've got a good stem to hold on to it. You get the tulip shape where you can get a good nose in there and really kind of experience the whiskey or a spirit that you're trying to talk about. That's important. But when it comes to, hey, it's Friday night, you just had like 4 slices of pizza and a bunch of champagne, and you just want to have a little bit of whiskey. You throw that little bit of whiskey in one of these, and you're still able to go through that proper nosing and tasting process. But
Definitely.
Maybe at more of a relaxed pace.
Man, now I'm craving pizza and champ. Damn.
Well, I mean,
aren't we all?
So you get like 3 days. Yeah, it's true.
Aren't we all? But yeah, I totally agree. Really nice casual glass that you don't forsake all of. It's you get kind of like a half between a rocks glass and Glencairn. A lot of great benefit. Really easy to drink from. Good stuff.
All right. Are we ready to blow the lid off this thing here?
Yeah, let me just pour a little bit more because I'm out. But yeah, so our final glass.
Yeah, so the final glass is actually a newcomer on the scene. In chat earlier, Jim mentioned it. Is the Aeanor? Actually, oh yeah, I do have an empty one. I was gonna say, fuck, did I not bring another one to show here? Is the Aeanor neat glass? This came out, I don't know what, maybe 4 months ago. Aeanor really rocks the shit out of these things. I'll put in the show notes below here. But if you want to get 15% off Aeanor stuff, you can grab a coupon code from my website for that. But these things, man, I was a little bit skeptical, and I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I saw them online. I was like, well, you know what? They look like a decent glass. They get a good tulip shape to them.
Yeah.
They look a little angular for me. I sort of like the rounded edge of the Glen a little bit, and I was unsure. But man, these things popped up, and I got to say, the weight really caught me off guard. Like, they are much heavier than they look. They're crystal, and they've got a good shape. They really kind of do it. Like, they fit just right in your paw.
I have to admit, so you originally were the one to kind of not introduce me, but to mention, hey, check this out. I thought I was gonna fucking hate this thing. Like it's
Same.
angular. It looks like Batman for goddamn sake. I thought, okay, so it's gonna weigh nothing. It's gonna be weird to drink from. It's something you really have to try to actually understand, because I was extremely prejudiced against them in every way. I own like 50 kinds of glassware, and I thought like this, I don't see any sort of use for this. Works really well for neat pours, and honestly, I love making Negroni cocktails in this. Like the shape, like it shouldn't work, but it does, and that's if that's all I have to say about it. Like it should not work, but it does, and it works really well.
It really does. I mean, I think every time I pick one of these up, and it's usually where I'm washing out like one of the Libbey glasses, or even like a Glen or something. I pick one of these up and I'm like, fuck, I forget how heavy that thing is. It really has a solid base to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could accidentally kind of like, if you bumped it a little bit on the table, you're not going to knock it over like you would with a Glen, which I think will save it from breaking. Yep. I don't actually remember the price point on these. But man, I'm telling you, these things really rock. You can see here, I've got a Manhattan going in this one. I've got a little cocktail going in it.
Yeah.
The bend in the glass, the angular bend, I'm not going to be able to highlight it good with a full glass, is actually the 2-ounce marker.
Yeah.
So it gives you
almost full up to my.
There you go.
I guess
it gives you sort of the indicator of like your standard whiskey pour of 2 ounces, or like almost a standard whiskey pour in my house. So you kind of know, right about where it's at, which is kind of nice. I mean, with the Glen, you don't really have anything like that because it's all round.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could, if you wanted to, take this thing with you and do a pretty decent nosing with it. It's not the same as a Glen, but man, this is a really good crossover between a cocktail glass and a tasting glass.
And it's worth noting too. So, if you think it's going to be too heavy, so the reason I thought this might be like, I also own the Norlin, the Rock Heavy Tumbler, and that is like crazy dense and like super heavy, and almost kind of exhausting. Glass. Like I love it. It's 1.4 pounds. Like it's just crazy, but this is a great balance. The Rock actually kind of gets exhausting to drink out of after a while because you have to like keep picking it up, like putting it to your face. But yeah, really great density without being laborsome.
Yeah, I'll throw the coupon code for that down in the show notes as well, with links to buy those. And actually, I don't know, Jay, if you threw together a cocktail tonight or not. I did, and I threw in the Peninsula Premium Cherries there too. Which,
I did. I made a cocktail and I drank it. But Peninsula, really good cherries.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. If you've hit up the bourbonfinder.com, my website, I did a way too far in-depth cherry cocktail. Like we've talked about this a lot. Like,
no, it's what the people needed, man.
Cherry. It was totally self-serving because for the longest time I wondered like, what's really the best cherry, and like why would it ever fucking matter? And then I realized eventually that like it doesn't really matter, but I do want to know. So I bought like
it matters
a ton of cherries. Like so the actual tasting was like I think 5 or 6 different types of cocktail cherries. Prior to that, I tasted a bunch more, and I threw a bunch of them out. I was like, I'm just not going to do this with these. Like, it's just not going to work. Like, I sort of wanted to hit the names that would be somewhat available. And in them, in cruising around Amazon, I found Peninsula Premium Cherries. And I was like, well, holy shit, these are like, I think 10-ish bucks, 10, 11 bucks. Like, super reasonable when you start talking about like Luxardos that are like over 20 bucks for a jar.
Damn.
And then we start looking at like the $2 like filthy cherries and some of the other things that are like fucking, they look nuclear.
Yeah, man.
Like these are probably made in like a Russian factory, right? Like, do you really trust them? Well, who cares? Because they came on top of an ice cream sundae. I went through the whole thing there, and the Peninsula came in second out of all of these cherries. Luxardo did win. I mean, you get what you pay for. They really are top of the line. But if you are going to be a little bit more budget minded, like basically want to spend like half the price and get really good cocktail cherries, the Peninsulas did it. So I'll throw a link to those in the show notes as well on the bottom, because I think that they do a pretty good job. And I think actually this is a direct quote from Jay, a hoe for cherries.
I think I did call you that once. And yeah. that is not a sexist declaration or anything, but John loves cherries more than anyone I've ever met. And I really like cherries. I thought I was that person to me. But
yeah, I'm not right in the head.
It's worth noting too. So for me, I love Luxardo. Like I love how like dense, it's syrupy, it's rich, it's decadent. It is the opulent cherry experience. The Peninsula, the thing I like about them, they almost have a little bit of tang to them. So they're really
You do.
sweet at first, and then right on the finish, you get a little bit of like citrus tang. And along with having a completely different texture, not to mention being about half the price, I like having both on hand because like really citrusy drinks, I think that the tang just fits so perfectly. Um, I love it in a Manhattan. The old fashioned, I still think the Luxardo is king, but the Peninsula
Yep.
works in so many things. And even like not gonna lie, and people will judge me for this. I make a gin and tonic. I throw 2 Peninsula cherries in. I think it just adds like just that light kind of zip, that citrus
Mm.
tang with a little bit of light sweetness without being, like
Color me interested.
yeah, two Peninsula cherries, just swizzle them around. Like it's just the littlest bit that goes well with that tonic and that
I
quinine.
like that.
Oh man, dude, I was in Florida. I went through. I put a jar of cherries in my luggage. The
Yep.
TSA looked at me and I was loco. But sent it on through,
Look, man, I need to bring my cherries. Okay, fuck
dude.
off.
Like, dude, yeah. I was like, I don't want to
That's not on the
explain
no-fly
this.
list.
I don't want to explain this going through. Like, thankfully they like I didn't hear like Southwest call me like over the intercom and be like Mr. West to security. There's a jar. Like,
Please come look at your bag. There's cherry sauce dripping out of it.
yeah, basically. But so I love having them both. I think there's great application, but I'm in love with the Peninsula. Work extremely well with, especially like I can't wait to do whiskey sour with a cherry and stuff coming up as it gets warm. But and they work great. Like the Aeanor glass is actually big enough to hold a cocktail, which is something we
Yeah,
were talking about with the Luigi earlier. If you try and put a cocktail of any decent size, the thing's gonna overflow. And this like a good cocktail goes up about halfway. You get a nice little swirl, fits well in the hand. Perfect.
agreed, man. Yeah, I'm super pumped about this. I get a little heavy-handed with the bitters in mine. I didn't realize it till
Those black walnut
like
bitters.
right as we. No, I was okay. I'm glad you said that because this dovetails nicely into what you're just talking about. I went with your traditional Angostura aromatic bitters and orange bitters because I thought it went better with these cherries.
Interesting. Okay. Wow.
So that citrus note from the orange bitters really kind of tied in there nicely. Really tied the room together, did it not?
I love it. It also feels like the day that hell freezes over, that you're not over the moon for those black walnut bitters.
Well, I thought that I was being clever. I went with a nice spicy Whistle Pig 10,
Okay.
and
That
then I
explains it.
paired
That's
that
good.
to the Angostura bitters with a little bit of orange, and then these particular cherries. Had it been going Luxardo though, which I think comes through as a little bit more savory, I might have used the black walnut to sort of accentuate it.
Yeah.
I might have still put some of the orange bitters in there too, but the black walnut I do go a little bit crazy for.
Well, as they say in Milwaukee, more bitter, more better. So I can't blame you there.
Hard to argue with that.
But I think we'd be hard pressed to say Aeanor, neat glass, really great, versatile. Your everyday de facto, you can't go wrong to own it, is absolutely the
Yep,
Glencairn. I have
totally.
at least 50 of these. They show up every single day. I break them constantly. At least if the last week is to be said. They're the perfect tasting glass. You can put 10 of them in a line, not break the bank. But I think the new kid on the block, the Aeanor, is super fun. I think it's I'm curious to see what else they're gonna do in the glassware space, but I think it's a damn good glass.
Yeah, I'm really pumped about what they've been doing. I know that they've had their blind flight stuff coming out lately.
Oh
They've got
yeah,
the travel decanter that you usually use as a water drinking vessel.
it's back there on the shelf. You can it's kind of
Yeah, almost got it.
oh. It's
Oh,
too hard.
mirrored shit is too hard.
Dude, it's mirrored
It's
and it's
up there
backwards and
somewhere.
it's upside down. I have it. You can see in the background if you have eagle eyes, but
It's down
not if
there
you don't.
somewhere. Let me take another look. Anyway, yeah, the Aeanor Neat Glass, they kicked it right out of the park. I really like what they did there. I still, if you don't have a Canadian Glen, I would say try one of those out too, because those are really cool, pretty
Yeah,
versatile. But yeah, hands down, the Glencairn is where it's at. If you're not, there's just no way that you're not trying those out. If
absolutely.
you're watching this show, it's probably because you have a whole pile of those already, and you want to see us talk about weird shit like the itty bitties or the new Aeanor stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Canadian Glencairn, get the Glencairn glass, get the Aeanor, and compare them and let us know what you think. If you like them, hate them, let us know in the comments. But I don't know about you, John. I think this is probably a good point to wrap up.
Yeah, that's a good spot to go. I'll let you go ahead and peel this thing away. And I just want to say again, if you're looking for the Aeanor stuff, go ahead and look down in the show notes or hit my website for it. You get a coupon code for it there. Save yourself 15% and check them out because they're pretty cool glass overall.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect R&D that makes sense, and that's what they're up to, and I think that's super cool. So if you are looking for more from John, he's at the Bourbon Finder. He has some A&O coupon code for you, which is kind of cool. I'm layman myself, so we'll get to me later. But find him on Instagram. Find him on the web at thebourbonfinder.com. He's doing comparisons. He has a great Seagrass review up if you're looking to buy your first, fifth, or ninth bottle. And he's also here every Tuesday and Thursday as part of Weekly Whiskey and After Hours. If you're looking for more from me, I'm Jay from Whiskey Raiders. So check us out at Whiskey Raiders on Instagram or whiskeyraiders.com. We have your commentary, articles, fun reviews, head-to-heads, and aggregates. We're the Rotten Tomatoes of whiskey. So we have everything you need. And if you're looking to get in touch with me, find me on Instagram. If you message me, I will respond. So thanks again for watching, guys. This has been an awesome Weekly Whiskey on Tuesday with you guys. And we have a great After Hours to drop on Thursday. I think that's it. I'm going to go make another cocktail with these cherries. But it's been great to see you guys. And cheers.
Cheers, man.